The meeting of the Long Beach Community College Board of Trustees will reconvene. And we are going to begin with item 7, which is the academic affairs. There's no items to report at this time. Next is the student support services. We have item 11.1, revised academic calendar for 2013-2014. This is an action item. Anyone wish to comment at this time on this item? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Clark. Second.
Second.
Second by Trustee Otto. All those in favor of 11.1, revised academic calendar for 2013-2014, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Next item, 11.2, is the ASB update. This is informational.
Who made the motion?
Does President Oakley on 11.2?
Yes, at this time, I'd like to ask our ASB President, Marco Mendoza, to come on up and update the board on some of the activities that the student body is engaged in. Marco?
Good evening, Superintendent President Oakley, President Kellogg, and members of the board. My name is Marco Mendoza, and I am the ASB president for the 2013-2014 school year. I was asked to come and speak to you all about all the different student life events that have occurred during the past few weeks and that are scheduled to occur during the next few weeks. And it is my pleasure to do so. This month, our Viking Volunteers program. Through our Viking Volunteers program, over 60 students participated in a breast and ovarian cancer walk here in the city of Long Beach. Also, our student life department hosts several blood drives where dozens of students go and donate each and every time. On October 9th, the Pacific Coast Campus Cultural Affairs Council held a Unity Day event created to provide awareness about domestic violence. Also, on October 9th and 10th, the Student Life Office held a Cards for Kids event that gave students an opportunity to give back to our community. Dozens of students wrote and made decorative cards for the children at Miller Children's Hospital here in Long Beach, where we were told that it was the first time such an event or such a thing had been done for the children at the hospital, and we were glad to give of ourselves. On October 14th, the PCC Student Council held a staff appreciation event where student leaders gave out goodie bags to various departments to show their appreciation for the hard work that they do at the Pacific Coast campus. Also, on Friday, October 25th, the Pacific Coast campus and Liberal Arts Campus Cultural Affairs Council will host a Halloween carnival for the community. Various clubs and organizations are scheduled to participate and give back to the neighboring community by giving out candy and hosting games for the children. Today, a few of our administrators and faculty members that include Vice President Peterson and Executive Vice President Gable held a student forum at PCC. The forum gave by the different administrators. Oh, I'm sorry. The forum gave the different administrators an opportunity to speak on behalf of the different committees that they're involved in and extended an invitation for the students to join them. They, along with Office and Student Life, will hold a similar forum at the Liberal Arts Campus this upcoming Thursday at 12 noon in the E-Building Nordic Lounge. In the coming weeks, we in the ASB, as well as different clubs at LBCC, will participate at the homecoming game on November 16th. We will also be holding homecoming rallies that will lead up to the game on November 12th and 14th at the PCC and LAC campuses, respectively. We extend an invitation to you all and hope to see a positive outcome for our Vikings at the game. Lastly, please save the date for the ASB and PCC Student Council event called Dining with Directors. This is an informal event on Tuesday, November 19th from 2:30 to 4:30 at PCC, where LBCC student leaders get to interact with you campus administrators and get to know you better. And that is all for now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. That was an informational item. We now go to 12.8, which is a resolution regarding the Los Coyotes property that we had the hearing on earlier. If there's no questions or comments on this item, I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution. There's a motion by trustee Clark.
Second.
Second by trustee Bowen. If there's no questions or comments on this item at this time, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. We completed that next item. We're now to the Pacific Coast Campus. No items at this time. Thank you very much. College advancement, there's no items, correct? Thank you. The next item, this one is being, I'm sorry. This is on reports and communications. There is an item for the Academic Senate President, and correct me if I'm wrong, though, this is going to be moved to November 12th.
Yes, but I do have something to say.
That's okay, you can.
Okay.
If I can, before she speaks, Board President Kellogg, as part of the presentation, and I had asked our Academic Senate President to speak to the issue of the extension courses, and I take full responsibility for this, but in all the discussion and all the testimony, I failed to call up Dana, our Academic Senate President, as well as I had planned to ask our ASB President to speak to it as well. And, I fully accept responsibility for getting caught up in the testimony at the end there and not calling on her specifically. So I'm sure she has plenty to say about the extension courses, and I just wanted to make that clear that it was my responsibility to make sure she had that opportunity, and it's my fault that she didn't.
And my apologies if you were waving to me. I didn't notice.
I'm a little unsure of policy, so I was trying to give looks, but I didn't want to interrupt and didn't really know what to do.
I'm
So
very used to
at any
getting
rate,
looks.
it's a little bit of a moot point now, but I think because the Academic Senate has thought so hard about this topic, even though it's already been voted on, I feel that it's important that I make a statement. The central issue around offering extension courses is one of interpretation of educational philosophy. President Oakley and the faculty of Long Beach City College fundamentally disagree about the interpretation of the mission of California Community College System. We understand that offering full-cost extension courses during summer and winter intersessions specifically does not support the stated mission of the system. President Oakley understands this mission differently, so we disagree. Offering courses this way represents a significant shift in public policy, one that is characterized by the Chancellor as a misguided policy direction for our system. The underlying message that this two-tier system sends to our community was defined fairly clearly by one of the callers into the KPCC radio program about AB 955. They said, "The people who are left in the dust will be no worse off than they are now." It should not be our purpose to provide access to high-demand courses and a fast track to completion for those who can afford it and leave others to struggle. Our purpose is to provide an excellent, accessible education to our community. Offering courses this way sends the wrong message and is simply too flawed and controversial to be effective. Thanks.
Thank you. And my apologies too, I should have probably looked over there most closely. Next item, we are on the Superintendent President. You have a report to the board? CTE update and accreditation update.
Yes, we have a couple of updates. Before I turn it over to them, let me just quickly, for the sake of getting through this agenda, I do have a couple of updates I want to make. First of all, it's interesting juxtaposition here, but I do want to congratulate the board. Recently at the Association of Community College Trustees, it was presented with the Pacific Region Equity Award for Long Beach City College for its work, Promise Pathways, the Long Beach College Promise, and for its leadership and student success. So I just want to congratulate the board for receiving the Pacific Region Equity Award from ACCT. I know Board President Kellogg and Trustee Uranga were there to receive the award. Second, I do think it's testimony to the conversations that have been had here, and I certainly don't necessarily disagree with our academic senate president's description of the philosophical debates that we have on campus, but I just want to make one statement about my belief over the mission of California Community Colleges. I don't personally agree with the direction the state is taking. I don't personally agree that we should invest more in corrections than we do in higher education. Having said that, I have, whether for good reasons or not so good reasons, become very familiar with how our legislature works, what's before it, the liabilities it has to consider going forward. And so that's why I view this option as an opportunity for this college to open up access. I don't disagree with the philosophical debate about what the ultimate solution is, and I certainly don't cast any dispersions on the California master plan for higher education, but I do agree that it is time to revisit it. In the latest report from the Little Hoover Commission, A New Plan for a New Economy, Reimagining Higher Education, many questions are raised and solutions are offered to the state legislature on our California higher education master plan. But one in particular, which we should all be proud of, is the fact that the Little Hoover Commission is not only cited the Long Beach College Promise, but also suggests that it could be a model for the rest of the state. I have a copy of that section for the trustees. There was also an editorial in the Sacramento Bee, in the Fresno Bee, in the Modesto Bee, and elsewhere that made the same references to the Long Beach College Promise. Whether people agree or disagree, putting students first and trying to find innovative ways to ensure their success and to show through data that there is success being made by our students is a cornerstone of our mission at Long Beach City College, and I thank the faculty and staff for all that they do to ensure that we put our students first. And we will have disagreements from time to time, but I do clearly understand that our faculty put students first each and every day, and that is something I would never disagree with. Finally, I just want to let everybody know that next Friday, a week from Friday, at 12 noon, we will again celebrate our outstanding alumni in our Hall of Fame ceremony. I hope that everyone has an opportunity to come and celebrate our 4 new Hall of Fame members and have a chance to celebrate all of our outstanding alumni. And I know 3 of our trustees here are on that list of Hall of Fame members, so congratulations to you all again. That's all I have. And unless the board has any questions, I will turn it over to Dr. Brock and Luann Bynum to give the CTE update.
Thank you very much. If the wonderful IT staff could put the PowerPoint up for us. Thank you very much. Tonight, we thought we would give you a snapshot of where we are with the career and technical education at Long Beach City College. Looking at the slide that is currently up, you will notice that we have a where we were in May 2011 and where we are in May 2013 or fall 2013. This slide highlights the changes over the past 2 years, and while programs have been reduced, overall offerings of CT programs are strong and enrollment is strong.
Okay, one thing that we would like to do is just, if you'll recall, we have had an evaluation and assessment process that's been in place since 2010. This actually is an outgrowth of the Board of Trustee goals that you've had. You've had as goal number 2, support career technical education, workforce development agenda to strengthen the regional economy. That's an iteration of a goal that you have had since 2007 to look at our CTE programs for innovation and alignment with the regional economy. We did go through a major part of the assessment process. It was a joint effort with the Academic Senate and administration and faculty members. We looked at 27 programs in 11 different departments, and these were the key indicators that we looked at. This was a data-driven process. Institutional effectiveness, the office was amazing in helping us to be able to provide that data to the faculty, but we have not completed that process. We will be also finalizing that process and building this actually and integrating this into the program planning and review process for the rest of the career technical programs.
The CTE programs have access to a variety of funding. Carl Perkins has been with us for a long time, and it is currently being reauthorized. We do get funding from the United States Department of Education and, of course, through other grants and programs. So the CTE programs do have multiple compliance requirements as well as multiple access to funding. One of the major portions of any of the funding is the connection to the local advisory committees. It is important that all the CTE programs have active advisory committees so that we can find out what business is hiring, what they would like our graduates to be able to do, and what support they would like to give to the program. The advisory-
Excuse me, can I ask a quick question about that? So in the career technical education programs that we have, do they all have advisory committees? Are we working towards that?
Actually, the next two slides, Doug will address that for you.
I'll be quiet.
The spring 2013 advisory committees that have been completed were licensed vocational nursing, registered nursing, and diagnostic medical imaging. On the next slide, you'll see the ones that have been either completed or scheduled for this fall. Dietetics, radio, television, culinary arts, baking and pastry arts, child development, computer and office studies, and the Trade and Industrial Mega Advisory Committee, which will have representatives from 10 of our programs and an equal number of industries, and that one will be in November, and that will finish this group. So Trustee Otto, almost all of them have now had their advisory committees, and we will continue that as an ongoing emphasis in the programs. The courses are being updated and renovated and reactivated and changed. And so far, the process for this fall, we've had 17 course updates, 1 course reactivated, and 17 new courses, all in the career and technical education program. The faculty are working extremely hard in this, and they will get additional information from their advisory committees as they meet with their advisory committees, and the CTE programs will continue to be updated and changed over the course of the next several years.
So the question becomes, what do we need to think about as we move ahead and look at our career technical programs and what is needed to support that? One of the things that's critical is to think in terms of our economy anymore, particularly in the 21st century, as a knowledge-based economy. There's still a need for manual workers and production of goods and services, but there's a demand for knowledge workers, and this means that people have to analyze more, produce ideas, knowledge, and information, and this is being driven by globalization, new media, information intensity, and computer networking and connectivity. These are things that we have to consider as we look to build new programs and link our programs to business and industry locally. The other driver that is happening is a change. The Chancellor's Office has coordinated and integrated, doing what matters for the jobs is the title of the effort, but it's really taking a look at career technical education, economic and workforce development, and trying to analyze that from a regional sector perspective and look at all the integrated components to that. It has to do with giving priority to regional approaches. It has to do with making room for new ways of thinking about things, labor and market needs and changes that are going on in the workplace and how we keep up with that locally. Student success certainly is part of that. That's a data-driven effort with looking at and analyzing data and outcomes and linking the K through 16 systems in a much more coherent way. And also the need to take a look at innovation and keeping up with innovation in the workplace and emerging trends in the workplace as we try to think about new program development and our current programs and what's needed for them. The other thing is the demand for high-level skills. This is really a 50-year trend, and this is flipped upside down from the 1960s. In the 1960s, 80% of the people didn't need specific skill sets, 20% did. Now it's almost the exact opposite, and that's increasing all the time.
The emerging requirements not only include needed skills for a trade or a vocation, but they include many of what we would consider the softer skills, communications, problem solving, critical thinking, health and safety, of course, academics in all of the basic areas, communication, responsibility and flexibility, ethics and legal responsibilities, leadership and teamwork, technical knowledge and skills, and demonstration and application of skills. These model anchor standards are intended to serve the entire educational community, from middle schools and high schools to post-secondary colleges and career training programs. These anchor standards continue to be validated by local business advisories that emphasize the same desired skill sets. So the challenge becomes how to put all of this into community college programs so that the students are getting all of the skills and all of the other attributes to their education that will make them good workers.
This is also what's occurring as this is going on is a nationally recognized evolution in career technical education. The title alone is an indicator of this. It used to be occupational education, an occupation for a person for a lifetime. Then it was vocational education, and there are opportunities to stay within that narrower vocation and be able to develop some opportunities for promotion. Now we're talking about career technical education that really has a lot of components to it that weren't there before and recognized as such. So instead of a few students getting occupational education courses, we're looking at all students having an ability to be able to be exposed to this. A good example of this is Long Beach Unified School District. They are requiring all of their students to select one of the career learning communities that they have. And so a student that graduates from Long Beach Unified will have an exposure to career technical education. We're talking about a few jobs in a few areas to a number of careers that are expanded, and limited programs to things like the 15 statewide identified industry sectors. And the other big driver here has to do with the integration of academics into career and technical education. It used to be an either-or thing. There were the liberal arts academics programs, and then there were the career technical programs, and sometimes those were for people that were less than. That is no longer the case. A good example of that is the recent grant we got for Harbor Trucking Association, where the truck drivers really have to be able to deal with cargo like hazardous materials and get trained on that. They have to know about their alternative fuels vehicles and how they operate and how their infusion with technology as they do that. So this is going on nationally. It's driving policies and grant funding that comes out of the Department of Education and the Department of Labor.
The evolution of CTE funding has driven some of the innovation. The Perkins Act of 2006 brought new program accountability standards to receive federal and state funding. Perkins Evolution used to be an equipment grant, and it is now an accountability grant with core measures and program viability. Perkins currently is up for reauthorization and will include current push to programs to evolve. The Perkins 2006 aligned technical assessments with career industry standards. It placed students in high-skill, high-wage, or high-demand occupations, and it develops programs of study showing secondary and post-secondary alignment, including articulation agreements in a career pathway leading to an industry-recognized certificate or post-secondary degree. It provides for rigorous academic and technical training with a focus on non-traditional and special population occupational training and employment. It provides professional development for the CTE faculty, and it provides student access to learning with industry standards of sufficient scope.
Okay, then another thing that we need to be thinking about is how we re-engineer and re-envision our approaches in our CTE programs. One of those strategies includes looking at career technical education programs not as silo programs, but they need to be considered as programs that are interconnected and align and are cross-disciplinary in nature. These kinds of things are taking place in industry, on the shop work floor. We need to be able to reflect that in our programs. Our workforce needs to understand and solve complex problems that don't have artificial boundaries, and this shows up most readily in high-performance teams in the workplace. The other piece of this is looking at our instructional models and strategies for that. You see some of the items here that are listed. An example of this would be organizing our programs by industry sector and clustering those. One example would be advanced transportation. That's kind of a bucket that includes also logistics, warehousing, inventory control, tracking, radio frequency identification, sensor technology. When you start to think like that, as industry does, then that kind of drives us and forces us to think about our programming and the cross-disciplinary nature and how we approach that. This also includes the support strategies for career technical education programs. Leveraging resources, establishing centralized processes are going to be important, and communication is also going to be critical. Articulated pathways, stackable credentials, opportunities for students to get core structural kind of education and then veer off in a number of different pathways is going to be important as we look at our programs. And then the real critical piece also for us is this conversation and dialogue that we have to have here at the college about that. We have initiated that in a number of areas. We certainly did it in the assessment process. We're about halfway through with that. But it's really important that we are department heads and our faculty. This is a faculty-driven process, and so we need to engage all the parts that need to come together and align in a way that helps us to be able to provide the resources, to provide the support, and making sure that we're looking at all the right components of programs. So that includes, you see here in this diagram right here, you see the components of that. Some of the areas that we've looked at recently and we've done some new program development in kind of gives you a flavor for what we're talking about. One of them is California's Linked Learning Initiative grant. This is developing pathways between Long Beach Unified and our healthcare academies and our Long Beach City College healthcare programs. We have a grant with the Clean Energy Commission that expands alternative fuels programming to encompass new electrical vehicle curriculum, infrastructure, and collaboration with our electrical department, not just alternative fuels department, and that's a cross-disciplinary program. We recently received a Trade Administration Adjustment Act grant that is part of the major funding that's going to community colleges from the Obama administration. This will help us create pathways in engineering technology. The partners that have come to the table are an example of how industry is helping to drive the way that we need to be thinking. Manufacturing technology is no longer just manufacturing as we knew it 30 years ago. It's design, production, and distribution. And Boeing's new design center, the engineers that they're going to be putting in across the street, they approached us and asked us about an engineering technology program that looks at design and also provides engineering technicians for that. This is a main component of our TAA grant. And then the other areas are Homeland Security grant. We have a number of programs that are working to provide a package of programming. We are doing training for the Transportation Security Administration, the U.S. government. That's a certificate credit-based program in administration justice. And then we have radio frequency identification, RFID. We are responding to the needs of the Los Angeles, Long Beach ports and the advanced transportation industry sector, and we were able to hire a new faculty this year that has expertise in cybersecurity, so we hope to be able to build that program. But those are the example of the kinds of things that we need to be thinking about when we bring all these components together. One of the things for you as board members is to think about, what can you help us, and how can you garner support for our programs? Well, it's engaging industry, of course, soliciting support and resources for our program viability, community outreach and awareness, and certainly collaboration with regional educational partners. And we've been very fortunate to have you do that and engage in that. And that's the end of the report. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.